Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is my podcast, Up in the Clouds. Hope you guys are having an incredible week. My week is going by pretty slow, but that's just because I have a really exciting, I just ran up the stairs. Really exciting weekend next weekend, so that's probably why this week is going slow, but it's fine because it's all right. I don't like when time goes by slow, but I don't know, it just kind of teaches me patience. So patience, young Padawan. Patience is a virtue. Patience is great. So patience. Woo! Yeah, so week is going slow. I had a half day today because I worked the weekend. So yeah, and then so I'm just really grateful to have today to record and then release this for you guys. And yeah, go check out my most recent video before this. It's a little fun try-on video, so go check that out and leave some nice comments and give it a like. Yeah, spread the love. Yeah, so let's get into today's episode, as I seem kind of like hyper and stuff, but today's episode's kind of dark. So basically, kind of what I wanted to talk about today is sort of, I'm going to think of a clever title before I post this, obviously, but something along the lines about like dark thoughts and how to what to do when you are in a dark place and you have dark thoughts that are kind of controlling your life, and sort of like how to combat those dark thoughts and bring in positivity. Because I've always, like I've mentioned on this podcast before about, trying to trick yourself into being happy by like telling yourself you're happy even when you're not happy, and just like trying to trick your thoughts into feeling happy or feeling worthiness, which usually when we have that lack of worthiness or feelings, that's when we're not getting the things that we desire. So we got to combat these dark and negative feelings with positive ones, and sort of just like also kind of going into just like how to even just live your life with dark thoughts and how to not let them rule your mind. Like, don't like letting, and I've definitely talked about this before, but I feel like it's super important to keep talking about it and keep shedding light on it, because it's not something that's talked about enough. It's not like suicidal thoughts is not like, people are opening up more about depression, about anxiety. Ariana Grande has spoken on her PTSD, and it's definitely like getting normalized, but I feel like not a lot of people, and unfortunately a lot of the people that have spoken about it aren't alive anymore, like Peep, Mac, Juice World, like they all aren't alive anymore to keep talking about it. So it's super important to shed light on people that are in the spotlight that talk about it. And I think those artists, they're probably never gonna watch this, but like, it is so nice when you find an artist that kind of just like captures a glimpse of like what you're going through and how you feel, and they put it into words so that it not only gives you something to relate to, but it also kind of normalizes it for you. I watched this podcast episode with Jaden. He is a punk rock, I talked about him a little bit on the last episode, but he talked about in this episode super deep about his drug addictions, his sex addictions, his suicidal, his depression stuff, and sort of like getting addicted to that feeling of being depressed, not like in a way that probably like some people would say negative, but in a way where like you get stuck in that hole, in that cycle, and it's super important to break yourself out of it, and or like try to do things to break yourself out of it, break those thoughts. And it's just important to shed light on these things that aren't talked about enough. So suicidal thoughts is something that I have struggled with since high school. I used to self-harm too a lot, so that can be considered pretty dark too. Not a lot of people talk about that, but it's okay to be in those it's okay to feel those things. And like, something that Jaden also mentioned that I wanted to bring up is like, it's nice to hear other people talk about it, so that makes it feel like you're not alone. Like, you aren't alone going through this. You aren't alone going through these struggles. There are so many people that probably would never open up about their struggles. And so it's super important that you get to, it's important to find those people to relate to. It's important to find something to ground you, to remind you that you're not the only person feeling this, because it kind of normalizes it for you. It doesn't make you feel so crazy or so like, what is wrong with me? Like, there are so many other people who struggle with this stuff. But there's definitely been times where I've had thoughts of wanting to unalive myself, even when I am good. So that's like a scary thing, is with these thoughts, you get to a place where you're really happy and things are going well, and your brain just sort of like pops back in and says, okay, but what if it's not? What if something bad happens? And that can be part of anxiety too. But then it's like, any minor inconvenience, like, I can be so happy, I can be so good, I can be mentally just like good, and then anything that happens that is bad, anything, like, it could be so small, and I can just go right back to that place of wanting to unalive myself. It's a lot. It's hard to deal with. It's so hard, especially like when you're in a dark place and you're in a situation like driving. I feel like that is also so scary, because it's just so easy, and that's scary. Like, it's really like a risky life to be in that place, in the place of being afraid of yourself, basically, because you don't even trust yourself at this point. I was to a point where I couldn't even be alone because I didn't trust myself to be alone, and I had friends that didn't trust me to be alone. So that is hard, because your ego, your lower self wants to be like, fuck everybody, I don't need anyone, like, I don't need you to help me. But in reality, you do need them, and you're desperately screaming for help on the inside, and you just don't know how to admit it, because that's how, like, at least in my experience, that's what it was. Like, I didn't want to be alone, and I knew I shouldn't be alone, but the people that were like not letting me be alone, it was like pissing me off, because I wasn't like, I feel like I needed to ask them, but I didn't know how to ask them. And then it was just like this like horrible cycle. And what do we, combating those thoughts with positive ones is so hard if you are really in a dark place. If it's probably a little bit easier if you're like kind of good or really good, and then something happens and you kind of get into that place. It probably is a little bit easier to try to lift yourself back up, whereas like being in a dark place and then trying to uplift yourself while you're super, super dark isn't really the easiest thing in the world. And that's just kind of where we have to really either lean on somebody, therapy, finding a therapist, maybe you want to take a more spiritual route and kind of heal yourself, like, so like finding a life coach that kind of like relates to you, that you feel a vibe with, because you're not going to vibe with everybody. I have definitely met so many coaches, and not a lot of them have I felt a connection with. There's only been a few that I really, really felt like, yeah, you are the person that can help me. This is it. So you're not going to vibe with everybody. And that's the same thing with therapists. You're not going to vibe with everyone. I've definitely had therapists who were very self-centered, and everything I would talk about, they would relate to themselves, but in a way that was like not helpful. Like, it would just like, I don't know, I just felt like I was their therapist. That's what I felt like, basically. And I just like, there's definitely, vibing. You have to vibe with people. And they're like, that's like, it's just all part of the process. And like, don't just give up because you don't, vibe with one counselor or therapist. Or same with life coaching. Like, if you don't vibe with a life coach, that doesn't mean that, oh, I just don't need one. No, everybody could use a spiritual or a life, like a wellness, new holistic, anything like around that. Anybody can always use a coach in their life, even if things are good and great, business coach, mentor, whatever you're looking for. But yeah, so kind of like I talked about this in one of my episodes, but I'm going to talk about it again. Obviously I was, dark place for a while, definitely been through my own suicidal struggles, and definitely something that I still struggle with to this day and still struggling with now. I have probably been in a really dark place since May, like the end of May, and just sort of rebuilding myself from that and kind of digging myself out of a really deep hole that I fell into. And my anxiety has been really bad. I haven't really been out lately. I have not like gone to like really like a social setting, like a bar or anything like that, in a while, just because like I don't know, I just haven't really felt up to it, and or like my anxiety talks me out of it. And it's hard. It's so hard because unfortunately I don't really have a support system that I feel comfortable going to. A lot of people in my family don't really like believe in mental illness, or they're just kind of like people that are like, be happy. So it's really kind of hard because it's hard to talk about it with people that don't get it, and that's like the super important thing, is like finding people that get it, finding friends that get it, finding a therapist if you don't have anybody that understands, because like those thoughts are not something you can deal with alone, and that's usually how bad things happen to people, is they try to deal with it alone. They try to work on themselves by themselves, but sometimes we need people, and that's like, we have to remind ourselves that it's okay to need people and it's okay to lean on people. And I'm a Taurus, so I'm a stubborn bull, so it's really, really hard for me to remember to lean on people, because I like to just kind of deal with everything myself, and I know that that's not right, and that's not something that I should do. So definitely working on that for sure. Yeah. So, um, why, what is our shadow self? What is, I'm just trying to get like, think of like questions that I've gotten. Our shadow selves is the darkest part of ourselves. I like to think of it as a lower self. We have a higher self and a lower self. And our shadow self is sort of everything that we've ever been through, that's been dark or negative or sad, every heartbreak, every abandonment situation, trauma. I feel like our shadow self is just all of that, like wrapped into just one low vibrational self. And then we have our higher self, which is the self that wants good things for us, the self that is thriving, the self that is healed from their traumas, the self that is, on a divine path, has reached the full divine masculine, the full divine feminine way of life and living, and just feel, completely on their path. And when you get to full ascension, basically. So when our lower self has kind of taken over and we are in a depression cycle, an anxiety cycle, a suicidal cycle, that's where we really kind of have to dive deep into, what is this stemming from? Where are these feelings coming from? Why am I feeling this way? What external factors are there, internal, external, and sort of go from there. So if it's external, obviously we need to cut those things out. If your job is causing you mental instability, it is time to get a new job. If it's your family causing you mental instability and or making it worse, so say you're just like, maybe they're not like a main external factor, but every time you go around them, they kind of like increase your wanting of to not be here. Cut them out. No, just kidding. Take time away from them. Just kind of explain like you got a lot going on and you just kind of like need to be alone. And if they're not, the nicest about it, like, unfortunately you are your own person, and you just kind of have to, you need to put yourself first in this situation, because you need to make it at the end of the day. You need to survive. And if there's people that are making it worse or causing you pain, it's them being temporarily mad at you while you're trying to survive or just make it through another day. That's a risk that you're just gonna have to take, because you are so important and you are meant to be here, and you need to cut out anybody that's making you feel like you shouldn't be here, for the time being, until you get to a stable place. And sometimes that's your friends too, your friend group who you surround yourself with. Sometimes they aren't supportive, and sometimes they cause you to feel worse about yourself. So you need to make sure that you're only surrounding yourself with people that lift you up and people that bring a good vibration to you. If they're causing you stress or whatever, that's or stress or giving you anxiety, or you don't even feel comfortable around them, I would say that that's not worth it, and you or your life is more worth it. Or they make you feel unworthy, or anything that's not high vibrational. Definitely not people you want to surround yourself with, especially when your dark lower self is kind of taken over. So to combat these feelings, trying to replace them with positive ones, which is super, oh my god, I have glitter in my eye. Super difficult. Oh my god. Can be super difficult, but we have to fake ourselves into being happy to kind of push those feelings away, until we reach happiness. I don't even know how else to do it. I don't even know what else to really it's really just a simple, it's a mind, we have to Jedi mind trick ourselves basically into believing that we're happy so that we can be happy, and Jedi mind trick ourselves to believe that we want to be here, and believe in our potential, and just trust the process and trust the universe that we have a reason for being here, and that's why we're still here. And we don't want to be the reason to take that away from ourselves. We don't want to take us off our own path. We don't want to hurt other people. That's the one thing that kind of really keeps me grounded, is knowing how many people would be so hurt if I ever did anything like that to myself. And that is really probably part of the reason that I'm even still here, to be honest, because I've definitely been selfish, and I've definitely try to think that nobody would care, and my anxiety tries to convince me that nobody cares, or that everyone hates me, and then I somehow will get a reminder from Abby, from an angel, who knows, from something, some higher being, some higher self, that will cause somebody to reach out in a certain moment that I need them to, or say something that I need them to without them actually knowing that I even need them to say that. And it kind of snaps me back into reality and just kind of reminds me. So super important to be in an aligned place where you can get those feelings and vibrations, because those really change the game for me. They really keep me here, and they keep me grounded, and they help. So just kind of finding a guide, an angel, somebody that is passed on, to really just kind of ask them to be there for you, and ask them to help you while you're going through your struggles, and really kind of help show you the way, to lead you out of the darkness, because living in the darkness is so scary, and it's so dark. Really, it is. It's just so hard. And we need to normalize it, because there's so many people who are mentally just like not okay, and there's so many suicides happening every single day, and I just want to save everybody. Like, even though I'm going through my own struggles and I myself am not super stable, I just want to save everybody else. Like, that's really like a big part of why I do this, a big part of why I'm so vulnerable. Not a lot of people would be sitting here talking about how they combat feelings of wanting to kill themselves every single day. Like, that's not something that is fun and sexy to talk about. It's not something that gets a lot of followers. It's, you know, it's not something that people put on the internet for anything. You know, it's not something that brings good, positive and attention. It's something that is dark, and not a lot of people know how to handle it and talk to you, or not a lot of people know how to be there for you. And or people just make you feel like shit about it, and or just make you feel worse, or, you know, whatever. And, you know, thankfully, like, society has gotten better about it, but I feel like there's still such a dark like stigma. Like, we're accepting of some mental illnesses, and while there's like still some that we're like not super accepting about. And I feel like if more people would learn how to be there for people, or just learn how to be more understanding, or just really learn how to, you know, and it's like, some people are so selfish and they would say like, why it doesn't affect me, blah blah blah. Like, it's going to affect you if your friend is not here anymore, or your family member, or this, or your brother or your sister. Like, it, like, suicide and depression can affect literally anybody, everybody. You can go through something, you could never feel that way your whole life, and then you could go through something so hard that you're gonna start feeling a way you've never felt before. So it's like, I don't care if you don't have, like, you need to, like, everybody needs to learn how to be there for people. Everyone needs to learn not to make people feel uncomfortable talking about their feelings, because sometimes you might be the only person that they can feel that they can talk to about it. And then if you make them feel worse, or they're opening up to you for the first time, and you just tell them to stop playing the poor me, stop playing the victim, your life is fine, this or that is just gonna make them spiral. And unfortunately, like, I've had that personal experience of opening up to somebody and them telling me, stop playing poor me, you're just trying to like make me feel bad for you, blah blah blah. And it's like, how dare you? Like, you don't know the condition that anybody is in, and to say that to anybody who's opening up to you about the fact that they're struggling with keeping themselves on this planet, and then you tell them that they're saying like, oh, poor me. Like, that is honestly, like, I was honestly heartbroken in that moment. Like, I wasn't even angry, I was just honestly heartbroken that I finally had like I opened up to somebody for the first time in months. Like, nobody has really, like, I don't think really, like, anybody close to me kind of knows the severity of what I've been feeling for the past couple months. And I've opened up to somebody that I shouldn't have, and learned, you know, from past situations that they don't really understand mental, you know, health and just stuff like that. And I opened up to them anyway, because I felt like I was about to crack. Like, I felt like a teapot that was like on the stove, just like whistling, like ready to just explode, because I had so much steam inside of me. And I broke, I cracked, and just ended up opening up to somebody, and that was their response. I can't even tell you, I really just wanted to jump out of a window. And that is coming from a place of pure honesty and just completely unfiltered thoughts. You know, I am trying to be so real on this podcast. I'm trying to open up about things that I don't know how to open up with other people, because talking to a camera is so much easier to talk about anything I'm going through than talking about it with anybody that I'm close with. And it's it sucks. I don't know how to fix it. I tried to open up to somebody, and then it just made me feel like shit about myself, and made me feel even worse, and made me really just want to like even more. So it's like, it's very frustrating, you know, and it's a frustrating process, trying to learn how to open up and be more open in general with people, and being more transparent, because, you know, you can't always, you know, when you know, are going through things, it's so easy just to like shut people out instead of talking to people, because of how people react to things, or just like society in general. But you know, we have to learn how to teach people how to be there for each other. We have to learn, like, even if you don't understand like what someone's feeling, like just learning how to be there for someone, even if you've never felt those feelings yourself, can truly be life-changing and truly save someone. Like, you could honestly save someone's life. You could save, in like, maybe they're just feeling like really like in that moment, like super, you know, you could save their whole day, you know, from falling apart. You can like basically just save someone's life. I don't even know why I tried to continue that, because that's the most important thing, is like trying to save somebody. So like, you just being there for them, and just really like, even if you don't understand, trying to understand, or just being a comfort, and not tell them just be happy, or not tell them like you have so much, blah, blah, blah. Because sometimes we are so blinded by the darkness that we don't see the light. We don't see the things that we should be thankful for, because we are so engulfed in dark feelings that we're not seeing the happy things. We're not seeing the lighter positivity. And there's just a better way to approach that. If you are, you know, if that is your approach to like, there's just better ways to talk to people about it. And I feel like the whole world needs a lesson about how to treat other people, because I just, you know, can't even believe the things that are going on right now. And just the way that people talk to each other, and the way that humanity handles things, and just like, bullying is still so bad, especially on the internet. Like, people on the internet are so awful to each other, and we just really need to learn how to really be there for each other. And, you know, we want to talk about be more open, but we can't slander people, you know, when they're trying to be open, or make people feel bad when they're talking about really hard topics to talk about. It's not easy to sit here and talk about what you've been feeling when you feel so low, you know. And so I feel like as a collective energy, we just all really have to learn how to be there for each other, and how to really help each other in a way, like, even if like you're just learning how to help somebody by trying to understand what they're going through, even though you've never been through anything like that, or haven't known anybody who's been through that before. Like, you just trying to be there for them, and trying to understand what they're going through, that in itself is going to be a life-changing moment for anybody. It's going to help them so much more than you will ever honestly ever understand, because you are not them. You do not know what's going on in their mind, and in that moment you can save them from a really hard time, honestly. And that's, you know, human connection, and finding people to relate to, and finding things to combat darkness when we are so far in it, is super important, because we don't want to be there forever. You don't want to be in that dark place. You don't want it to eventually take you away. Honestly, that's what it will lead to eventually. And that's, you know, we all have to be there for each other, and just remind each other that there are other people who feel this way, and to find those people, and to be there for each other, and keep each other here, and keep each other accountable. And, you know, don't make people, if someone's opening up to you about something, don't make them feel worse about it, because a lot of the times you might be the only person they feel like they can talk to, and or they've reached a point where they're so frustrated with everything, and they're so frustrated with the way they're feeling, that you might just be the first person they open up to, because like somebody's finally asking them if they're okay, you know. And so just learning how to, you know, be a better human being. If you don't understand mental illness or you don't think it's real, I'm sorry, but you are wrong. And I don't even care. Like, if you are somebody who thinks mental illness is fake or people use it for attention, like, yes, there are people in this world that try to unfortunately glorify mental illness, and that's something that is really sad. But because it's not fun. It's not fun, and I don't know why anyone would want to glorify this or pretend that they have something, because I would give, my life would be so much easier if I didn't have anxiety, if I didn't have depression, if I didn't have suicidal thoughts, if I didn't have struggles with PTSD, if I didn't have an eating disorder, if I didn't have this or that. Like, my life would be so much easier if I had none of those. But then I wouldn't be here today talking to you, and I wouldn't be as strong of a person as I am if I didn't have those struggles, and I wouldn't be, I don't even know if I would be the person that I am today without the struggles that I went through, you know? And that is just some light to a really dark thing, you know? I'm a snowball of just mental issues. And, you know, I want to say that I'm grateful, because I would never be able to relate to people who have anxiety if I didn't myself have it, or I didn't have that. I wouldn't be able to relate to those people. And that's why I just, like, it literally blows my mind when people glorify mental illness or fake that they have a mental illness, because trust me, you don't want this. Like, it holds you back from so much in life, and it's really not fun. It's not fun at all. So please, and it's kind of an insult to people that actually have it. So just, keeping the door open for people, making sure that you're not pretending to be something you're not or have something you don't. Trust me, you don't want it. You don't. You really don't. So yeah. Keep yourself uplifted. Find things that keep you here. Find things that ground you. Find light. There's always a light somewhere, even if it's a small little candle flame. It is still light. And there's still something at the end of that. There's still something. So just trust that, hold on to that, and know that you are loved, you are special, you are amazing. No matter what you've done to other people, you still are a good person, regardless of the things, the pain, the hurt you've caused. That doesn't define who you are. You can learn from your mistakes. People forgive, they do, and sometimes they don't, and they weren't meant to be in your life if they won't forgive you for things that you did in a place of darkness. You are here, you are worthy, and you have a purpose. So do some soul searching, go through your dark night of the soul, and just really try to find even little things just day by day. If you have to live your day by day, just to keep yourself here, then you got to do it. And that's what you have to do. And that's what I'm doing. Literally just find something small with every day to ground me, to keep me here, It's super, 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 super important. We've got to keep ourselves here. We've got to keep ourselves strong. There's not enough there. We got to be there for each other. We can't keep pitting each other against each other. We need to support one another. We need to learn to lead with love, and we need to just help people. And if you don't know how to help somebody, I don't want to be like learn, but like just be an ear. Maybe sometimes they don't need your help. They just need someone to listen to them. They just need someone to remind them of how great like they are, because they are so caught up in darkness that they don't even know how great they are and how amazing they are. And like, you need to know that like you're here and there's something here for you. There's, you know, you belong here, and I promise you that, you know. Truly, everybody, no matter what you've done in the past, everybody has a reason. They are still here, and the reason that things happen to us and the reason we do things and the way we live our lives, and just reminding ourselves every single day that you are amazing. And if, you know, I will record myself saying that so that you can listen to that if you need that, because I would do that for anybody, honestly. Because you are great, you are amazing, and you are a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I hope this reaches the souls that need this, because we all need it. I need it, you know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it on that note today. Thank you so much for listening. I know that sometimes it can be really hard to talk about things like this. It can be really hard to listen to things like this. But thank you for your support, and I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful for all of your support. I'm very grateful for every opportunity that has come and will come for me, because I know that good things are coming. I just have to really just start trusting in the process and believing that, and dig myself out of this hole that I've been in for a couple months now. And I'm like halfway out of the hole. Like, I'm there, like I'm getting there. I'm definitely feeling a lot better than I have, and that's super important. And I think it's because I know my job is ending soon, and I'm just like, yes, because I hate the job that I had. I really hated it. So I'm just really excited, and I feel like it caused a lot of mental issues for me in general. So I'm just grateful to be new opportunities to come my way. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really hope this reaches you if you need this message. I love you. You are an angel. And yeah, please, if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you need someone to talk to, please reach out to me. I am here for anybody. I'm here for you. If you know somebody that needs this, please send this their way. Send them my email, my Instagram. Please, anybody DM me if you need someone to talk to, because I am here for you. I love you guys so, so, so much. Can't wait to see you for a fun little vlog that I'm going to be doing next week for the festival that I'm going to. I'm going to be doing like an outfit vlog / like come to the festival with me vlog. I'm not going to be on my phone a ton, but little clips here and there so you guys can kind of experience it with me. And then obviously we'll have an episode next week. I'll probably release it a little bit early because the festival starts on Friday next week. So I'll probably have like an earlier episode next week for you guys. Yeah, I love you all so much. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And until next week, I will see you, and I love you. Thank you. Goodbye.